So good morning. Happy Monday, May 1st. It is crazy. I cannot believe that we're almost halfway through this amazing year. So you guys, I'm coming to you alive, excited, full of energy, full of passion. And as always, you guys, full of tremendous levels of gratitude. Not sure what's up with this weather, but if you were outside yesterday, it was crazy with the wind and the dust and the pollen and the dirt. I'm just ready for us to choose a side, whether it's going to get hot or whether it's going to get cold. But today it's cold again. So anyways, coming to you, very grateful, very excited. So let's do this. I'm going to have somebody take us out on the field as always. That person is going to be Cortez. Cortez is here. He's ready to go. He's got his camera on. He's been showing up in a big way. So Cortez, three-parter. I'm going to have you bring us out on the field. Advice that you would need to tell yourself today, and then a word for the day. So let's go ahead and get into states. So Cortez, let's hear from you, big dog.
All right. Can y'all hear me?
Loud and clear.
All right, great. The word of the day is consistency. That's been a theme for me the last couple of weeks, especially. So we want to be consistent. What was the other thing you said?
So if you had to give yourself a little bit of advice today, what would that advice be? What would you need to hear?
For me, it's to be easy and just relax, just do the things that I need to do, but don't be all stressed out about it or just flustered. Just be like water, Don't be like soda.
Okay, I like this. And then bring the team out on the field on this beautiful day. You got 56 people here right now.
All right, so today actually is my 1-year anniversary to being on the team and being a realtor. So I'm excited about the new year. And if it's not your new year, obviously, let's just get excited about life, about just everything that's life is good. It has its ups and downs, but we could take advantage, and it's all about mindset. So let's keep a positive mindset and enjoy our day and enjoy our week.
I love it, Cortez. Well, happy anniversary to you, my man. Let me ask you this. It's a year in, you've learned quite a bit. If you were to look back and reflect from this last year, what are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned in this last year?
Don't take things personal. You gotta market yourself. You gotta put yourself out there. And for me, I took a real methodical approach this first year, really trying to learn. So moving forward, I want to be a lot more aggressive. So that's my thing. I had 6 escrows. So I definitely want to do a lot more than that this year.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, for you going in it and learning and being methodical, still doing 6 deals, bro, that's a really great first year, man. And you have nothing but momentum right now. So let's give Cortez a giant round of applause for how he's shown up in this last year. So good stuff.
Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. So before we get started, let's just talk. I know we got some Sacramento people on here today, but let's talk a little bit of Warriors, right? I couldn't start the day out without mentioning the Warriors. I know, Rico, I know, but champions show up when champions need to show up. And the first time in history that, and Otis, help me out here. Was it the first time in history that somebody scored 50 points in a game 7?
First time in NBA history, Steph joins a good cast of Olajuwon, Jordan, LeBron. I mean, Kevin Johnson back in the day for the Phoenix Suns. It's like about a good 11
stealth, bro.
there. But the very first to do it in a game 7, I mean, it was ugly. They got there in a tip to the Kings because them young bulls was out there and they really tested the champs. But you're right, Elias. I even told D Ripper, he said, "Oh, you doing showings and not watching the game?" But I had the Palm Pilot up there watching it while I was doing what I needed to. So those last 10 minutes showed the experience of having 4 rings and being with that coach and that main group. And they came through and they just dominated that last 10 minutes of the game.
Yeah, it was really, really incredible to see and to watch and to know that even at his age, he is still pushing himself to be even better, right? Like even better. They're thinking maybe he's at the tail end of his career and he's like, no, he's like, I got to shut everybody up. And so I am super inspired by what they were able to accomplish, what Steph was able to accomplish. And so obviously I had to share that with you for all the Sacramento Kings fans out there. It was a good run for you guys. It was a good run for you guys. You guys needed that. You guys showed up in a big way, and maybe next year or maybe not. But anyways, we're going to move on. We're going to move on. I'm excited, guys. I'm going to share a quick clip with you. How do I watch the game if I forgot to record it? I have no idea. Maybe someone else can answer that. But I'm going to share a quick clip from a video, you guys. It is 30 seconds. This is hands down my favorite favorite movie in my entire life. And I actually, if I'm going to date myself, I actually saw this in the movie theater with a date when I was like 12 years old, and I brought her a single flower. So, and I remember that my mom picked me up. We're in the back of the truck. It had like a camper shell on it, and you're just trying to not roll around. But anyways, I want to share this with you guys. Let me put my sound on, and hopefully you guys remember this movie, because this was a really powerful movie. But this is what I want you guys to take away from this opening up. And let's go ahead and press play, and hopefully you guys can hear my screen or hear my sound. Let me turn that up a little bit. It's 30 seconds, you guys, so bear with me.
Do I have time?
Of course you have. You got all the talent in the world.
Can I be a baseball player?
You can be anything you want to be. Remember, the saddest thing in life is wasted talent. You can have all the talent in the world, but if you don't do the right thing, then nothing happens. But when you do right, guess what? Good things happen. Yeah.
That's it, you guys. It's really that simple. I remember seeing this as a kid, and it's always resonated with me that you could have all the talent in the world and do nothing with it, right? And I watched that this morning, and it reminded me of you guys, right? You guys have all this God-given ability and talent and voices and reach, and you could either choose to do something with it, or you could choose to waste that talent. And so I want us to do a little reflection. Anytime we do a group coaching and it starts on the first of the month or the first of the year, I think it's important that we just take a step stop for a second and take a look at what we did or did not do the 30 days prior, the year prior. So I had a couple questions for you guys, and I want you guys to just really reflect back. If you were to look back at your last 30 days, I want you to ask yourself, how well did you perform, right? How well did you show up in the last 30 days, right? Were you able to accomplish the things that you set out to accomplish? Did you hit your goals? Were you able to follow through on your commitments? If you were to ask yourself, in the last 30 days, how many conversations did I have? I don't know, okay. How many conversations did you have in the last 30 days? All right, let's just start there. How many appointments did you go on in the last 30 days? If you were to look back at your analytics on social media, how many times did you post on social media? Can you actually go back and be like, wow, in the month of April, I actually posted 42 reels and had an average reach of X amount. I saw my engagement go up. I saw my amount of followers go up, whatever that number is for you guys. So I want you guys to look back, and I want you guys to say, ask yourself, did I do everything that I needed to do to show up in the month of April, right? And if I was to do something better, and if I needed to show up in a better way for myself, what should I have done? What could I have done? And I want you to ask yourself that question, you guys. Here we are. It's May 1st. You guys are about to walk into the busiest time of the year. This is going to be craziness. There are buyers out there. There's going to be sellers out there. Buyer activity is going to be through the roof. So this is a time where you can truly, truly make your entire year. Escrows from May are going to be results in June and July. That means that maybe that's a summer vacation for you. Maybe that is an early fall vacation for you. Maybe that's savings, whatever that looks like for you guys. But I want you guys to start thinking about that. And I want you to make some declarations today to say, what am I going to do in May and how am I going to show up? Before we leave today, I'm going to have everyone, we're going to stop coaching for 2 minutes, and I'm going to have everyone put their goals in Slack. I'm going to start it out. There's only a couple people that are doing this. I want to help everybody with this. So how are you guys going to show up in May? What are you going to do different? What do you need to pull out of yourself in order to make sure that you have tremendous momentum for the summertime? You guys, if systems are something that are holding you back, organization, calendar, all that stuff, you guys, we should be past that. We should be past that. You guys are running a multi-million-dollar business. You guys need to make sure that if you don't have your systems, your tools, your calendar, all that, like, why aren't you just sitting down and making sure that you spend that time? Whether that's you woke up a little bit earlier, you stayed up a little bit later, carved out some time on a Sunday. I don't care when that is, but this is the time where we get ready because shit is going to get crazy this summer. So I wanted to share that with you. Also, a few other questions that I had for you guys, and I was reminded because I made a video and I was reminded of this over the weekend. I want you to ask yourself right now, if you could rank yourself on a scale from 1 to 10, you might want to make some notes on this. If you can rank yourself on a scale from 1 to 10, how well do you communicate? And you got to rank yourself from a 1 to a 10, 10 being, I am a phenomenal communicator. And one is like, oh my God, I am just clunky. I'm shoes in a dryer. I just don't have any type of flow. I have trouble connecting with people. I hate social settings. I can't look people in the eye. I'm awkward. My hands get slimy. All those things, right? Ask yourself, how well of a communicator are you? And I want you to rank yourself. And I want you to say, if there was an area of how I communicate that I would want to improve, what would it be? What area? What would you want to make better? Can someone mute themselves? I'm getting some background noise. I don't know who that is. If it's you, just mute yourself. Thank you. It's gone. And ask yourself, when you look at the communication process, what do you believe your biggest challenge is? Is it connecting? Is it closing for an appointment? Is it building rapport? Is it asking really good questions? Is it not feeling salesy? Is it not feeling like you were just contrived with your communication? Like, what is it? What is your biggest challenge with communication right now? And to follow up on this, what can you do about it? What have you read? What have you attended? Who have you listened to? Is there examples how you've become a better communicator in your life? Maybe that is with your significant other. Maybe you took some time to realize that maybe my conversations were too overbearing with my significant other. Maybe I wasn't listening intently. Maybe I was too focused on what I was going to say with the consumer before they ended what they were going to say. And I was always quick to want to jump on what they were saying, right? Am I watching nonverbal cues? Am I studying people's communication patterns when they're not saying anything? Am I watching for how they look at each other? Am I calling people out, and not in a mean way? Hey, Melody, I noticed that you just looked at Tiger. Hey, guys, I'm getting some background noise. Hold on really, really quick. If you don't have yourself on mute, Judith, can you check for me? iPhone, there we are. Thank you. Sorry. I want you to be conscious of it. So Melody, Tiger, I noticed that you guys just looked at each other. You had a moment. You didn't say anything. Tell me what happened in that moment. Well, this just reminded me of this. Or, hey, guys, hold on a second. I saw you guys do this when we saw that living room. What was that? Right? Be able to look and study what people are doing and how they're communicating, and not always with words, you guys, not always with words. I remember, and I made a video of it, somebody gave me that book, You Say More Than You Think. That book was an absolute game changer for me because it had you dive into body language, physiology, and be able to read people's nonverbal cues. So back to that. What is your biggest challenge in communication right now? What can you do about it? What have you read? What have you attended? What have you listened to? What are some examples? Is it your relationship? Is it with your mom? Is it with your father? Right? So for you guys that don't know, I have a headstrong, old school Italian father. He communicates in a certain way. So it's like, did you become better at communicating with your dad, with your mom, with your cousin, with your uncle, with your auntie? Did you have to look within yourself, say, okay, how can I really be a better communicator with that style of a person? Right? So I want you guys to think about this. I'm actually going to go through some examples of some things today that I think that you're going to find very helpful that can lead to you guys having more appointments if you're a better communicator. I saw a hand up really quick. Was it Mel? Was that your hand up?
Yeah,
What was your contribution?
On this topic, I'm actually reading a really interesting book, which I sent you a picture of yesterday, and they break down a words that I didn't know before, and it lands exactly where you were speaking. Mentalizing is a word that I never knew existed before, but I looked it up, and in the book it describes it as the ability to understand one's own and others' mental states, thereby comprehending one's own and other intentions and effects. So it's the process that you were just talking about, and it talks about empathy. Empathy is more than just understanding what someone else is thinking or feeling. Empathy is understanding and also feeling what someone else is feeling and thinking, being able to put your mind in their state and processing their feelings and emotions like your own. So it's really interesting that you were talking about that, because I was just learning about that yesterday.
So mental, I actually have never heard the term mentalizing. Now I'm intrigued. Now I'm going to go read. Now I'm going to go and research, but mentalizing, I love this. So drop the name of the book. And the book that I was mentioning was You Say More Than You Think. So when we go here and when you ask yourself, these questions. And if anybody would like to chime in on this, obviously this is an area where we grow together. If you were to analyze your communication skills, where would you rank them on a scale from 1 to 10? If there was an area that you would want to work on and improve and become better, what area would that be? What would you do different? How would you get better? And what is your biggest challenge? I would love to open this conversation up before I get into some techniques. I see some hands up, so I appreciate that. Go ahead and put your hands up, you guys. I think this is a powerful conversation. And you guys, I remember working at a vacation club before, and my good buddy, Sergio, who is still a really good friend of mine, he would stand me next to him. He said, Elias, what are they talking about over there? I'm like, I have no fucking idea. He's like, watch. And he would tell me to watch their foot. He would watch their knees, as their knees would bounce. He would say, see how she just grabbed his pinky? Like the littlest things you see when like he did one of these, like he would have us study the room and like watch. And then like, you become like so skilled at seeing what is somebody saying without saying a fucking word. And you guys, it is so powerful. And this is something that has helped me become a way better communicator just by watching, looking, and reading people's energy and body language. So Jess, you had your hand up, and then we'll go to Ophelia if we can hear you and the audio is good. So Jess, let's hear from you. What are your contributions?
What's up, y'all? Good morning. Actually, a while back, I remember watching an interview of Beyonce saying that her alter ego was Sasha Fierce. And I was just like, oh, that's hella weird. Like, why would she have that? And I was like, but it's a very interesting concept. And it's so interesting because as I've turned more into Jess Bling, I find that through my business, I'm a stronger communicator. I have hella confidence because I've had to become Jess Bling to create this business and to grow and to take all of the things that have happened throughout being in real estate. Come here, Diamond. Because with real estate, it's taught me a lot about myself. It's taught me a lot about my triggers and my insecurities, but also ways to ask more questions when I'm with clients. And like you said, paying attention to the shit that they're not telling you. Right. And so anyways, developing this alter ego, and I challenge all of you to do it. This alter ego of mine doesn't have insecurities. And when it's very interesting because I find myself when I'm having very personal conversations that Jessica is present. But when I'm talking about business and I'm talking about my goals and the shit that I'm accomplishing and the legacy that I'm creating, you can't tell Jess Bling shit.
Wow.
Do you get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you have to walk as your alter ego, even when you're not that person.
Wow.
Does that make sense? It sounds kind of contradicting, but that's like one thing that I've had to teach myself. And so now Jess Bling is my Sasha Fierce. When I walk into a room, the way that I dress, the way that I carry myself, the way that I converse with people, it's very intentional.
Oh, that's powerful. That's really powerful. I think that what happens too by doing this is that you create a different persona. You create a new persona, right? And like the person, the more that you walk into your Sasha Fierce or whatever that looks like for you, I believe that the more that you create a new persona for yourself. And now this new persona emerges, then guess what? You said goodbye to some of the things that you were holding on to. And you're like, well, wait a minute, this is just who I am, because it's a choice, right? So I think this is a really powerful point.
100%. I appreciate that. One other thing I wanted to share too is that they say that the person you are now and the person that you're becoming is the person that your younger self needed.
Yes.
And I was just like, no, it's not. Yes, it is. But anyways, I just wanted to share that with you guys. So just think about it, because you can't be who you are. And I've learned that you cannot be who you were a year ago. You cannot be who you were 5 years ago. The more that I'm telling you, the psychology and the shit that I've learned through real estate applies to my everyday friendships. I don't drink. I'm not a smoker. Like, there's a lot of things that I've developed and who I've become become who I need to become. But I'm gonna be quiet now, but I just wanted to share
that was a strong contribution. I'm thinking now, like at 43 years old, if I was to go back and talk to 22, 23, 25-year-old Elias, I would sock him right in the fucking nose. I would sock him so hard in the nose and be like, you need to wake up. Like, I would just be like, you need to be him. You need to wake up. You need to get out of your, like, I'll probably beat myself up. But Jess, I love the contribution. Let's go Ophelia, let's go Megan, let's go Dominique, and anybody that else wants to share right in the beat. Anybody else that wants to share? Let's go Ophelia.
Well, good morning, everyone. Jess, that was powerful, and I completely resonate with that. There is a sense of, well, I guess the way I see it is there's business me, and then there's me, right? And so whenever I'm with clients, there is this persona that comes out, there's this confidence. But when I do see a slight emotion or some vulnerability, like that hat goes out the window, and then I switch out to another hat, and we have these deep conversations. So I think it's powerful. It's powerful that you're able to interchange and you keep growing that way. And that statement of who you are today is who you needed, you know, when you were younger. That's been just screaming at me. That's so good. So to switch it up, what I've noticed about me, and it's something that Elias, you and I have talked, is like, okay, I know I have things to say. I just can't articulate them at certain ways or certain times. And what I'm noticing is I just had my second event on Saturday, and it was great. And I practiced and I spoke, and the way my hands and everything. But when I got to the moment of it happening and I saw all those little beady eyes looking at me, I realized how uncomfortable I got and how quickly I wanted to jump ship. So I noticed that my speaking sped up. It started to speed up. I just wanted to get out. And so something I want to practice now more and more is just being in front of people and keep talking, but large crowds, because it's so uncomfortable, but I gotta get over it, because I have so much to say. And I think my brain even sabotaged me because there was so much I needed to say, and I started forgetting words. And I was starting getting pissed off, but I was like, I know my body is fighting this, like, jump, it's uncomfortable, get out. Whatever trauma I must have gone through, it was coming out, and I was having a moment in front of 25 people. But I remember feeling, and when you were saying, how is your hands? I remember I was like squeezing my hands, and I was like, relax your hands as you're still talking. So it was powerful. I don't know how else to be in front of people, maybe in large crowds, to really get this going, but it's something I'm going to work on. I just don't know how, but I will.
I love it. So Ophelia, I'm just going to give you some advice that worked for me. Obviously, over practice, over prepare, listen to yourself and record it in your phone, that we can hear how long it actually takes to say the phrases, the sentences, the points that you're going to make. But also, before you go on to any stage, if that's something that you aspire to do in the future, and you guys are all in public roles, like look at where Cynthia's at. She's just hosted her third event, and congratulations to you, Ophelia, for your second. But work the room like nobody's business before, right? Go around the room. Oh, Megan, oh, Jess, Ramel. And like what you're doing is you're storing all these things. So then when you need a moment to collect your thoughts, you know, hey, Megan, I want to go to the room and ask you a quick question. So you're feeding off the crowd because you remembered all these stories from them. So I'm constantly working the crowd before I get on stage to see who can I meet, what is a story, and then I can use that. And guess what? I can make somebody laugh, or I can get them on my side, or could you leverage them as a third-party story? So it's not just coming from me. So those are some things that I've done in the past. I remember Cynthia, she was doing, I think it was boot camp, and she came with the presentation. She had all these notes and like flashcards, and I don't know if like the flashcard was out of place, Cynthia, or I forgot what it was, but like she was relying on this. I was like, get rid of those, get rid of those. Now she doesn't do the sessions with the cards and the notes like she used to. She's become a way better public speaker. So Ophelia, great job to you. Megan, let's go over to you. Let's hear your thoughts, sentiment on the conversation, and share with me your contribution.
Yeah. Hey, good morning, everybody. So just talking about like communication in general is huge to me. I think it's like a skill that you can never learn too much of, or like you can always be improving. And it's something I think everybody should be working on, and realizing that your communication is different per relationship, right? Whether it's your kid or your spouse or your business partner or your client, like the way we do communicate with everybody is different. But I was going to share this file, but I'm not sure if it.
And if you can't share it, just send it to Judith and she'll drop it.
Okay, I think it's going in the chat right now, but it's about like emotional intelligence, which is something people really don't talk about. But there's 5 big important things of emotional intelligence, and empathy is one of them. And I think that's the one that I feel people struggle with the most. You either are a really empathetic person or you're almost barely empathetic, but I feel that's a great thing to learn. I hope that thing dropped, but if it didn't, there's like 4 more skills. There's social skills, decision making, self-regulation, and self-awareness. And I just think it's a really good thing for people to keep in mind or learn more about, because it'll really help your communication.
I love it. Hey, great stuff. And there's did it come from the new Gary Vee book?
I don't remember. I've learned about
Yeah.
it and heard about it, but I don't remember exactly where it was.
Incredible. I forgot the name of the book. If you guys can find that name of that book, feel free to drop that, but it's one of his most recent books. Really, really good read. Let's go Rico. Let's go Dominique. Dominique twice. Oh, there she is. Now we're once. Let's go Rico. Contributions, back to the questions that we talked about communication challenges, so on and so forth. Rico, let's hear from you, big dog.
For sure. Well, I attended my first script role play on Thursday, and that really just let me know that I need to just be prepared. I need to embody what I'm doing before I step out onto the field to do it. So I spent about 30 to 45 minutes every time I went door knocking for the rest of the week on Thursday and Friday. And the flow, the rhythm, the tempo that I had with other people, the way that they received me, and I was able to just like really step into my role naturally. Another thing I do, it's in the book, High Performance Habits with Brendan Bouchard. It's called like a release practice where you just release all kind of your preconceived notions. Like you just close your eyes, breathe, and just use that word release for about 2 minutes. And then for another minute, you intend what kind of energy you want to embody. So when I have like a listing appointment or something like that, I'll kind of have the mantra of like, I want to give more than I expect to receive. And when I've done that, it's just made things just kind of like, there's just been more of a free flow in the conversation, and there's the questions are still being asked and the next steps are still being taken, but there's less of that sense of like self-consciousness going on. So yeah.
Wow. You know, you guys, I didn't know that the conversation was going to go here, and I'm so grateful for you guys' contributions, because what happens when we're driving up to a listing appointment, right? If you haven't done a ton of listing appointments, right? There's that self-talk. Okay, what am I going to say? I'm going to say this. And okay, we sold X amount of houses last year, but it's like, hold on a second. Like, what am I going to do to truly connect with them? What are the best ways for me to get these people to open up and to find out what their true emotional motivators are? Let me sit there and talk with them. And so, Rico, I think that's a really good way to set it up and frame your mind. So I'm glad things are working for you and you're progressing in your communication style, man. I love this. Dominique, let's hear from you, and then we'll go to ODog.
I love this conversation about communication, because sometimes I feel like I'm an over communicator, and I don't think that people talk enough about that. And that's something that I had to speak to someone personally about, because I am a product of divorced parents. So my parents divorced when I was about 6 years old, but there was issues prior to that, of course, that led to the divorce. But as a kid, you're confused about things and you want answers, you want to know. And not knowing causes anxiety. And not knowing, I even went through some things in school, in middle school, where not knowing what's to come for the day or for the week or for the year, it causes me great anxiety. And what that produced for me was becoming an over communicator, asking questions, asking that one question about 5, 6 different ways, because I want to know. And those are things that make me feel better as a person. And those are things that make me feel like I've gotten somewhere. And so what you wanted or needed as a child is like, you either grow from it or you either stay within that realm of lacking, right? But that's something that I didn't want to lack, because I know that, or in my head, I'm like, well, what if my parents communicated more? Could that have got them somewhere, right? But that doesn't only just lead to family, it leads to business as well. So I feel like over communicating sometimes is what I do with my clients as well. I mean, they seem to like it, but on the flip side of things, my husband's like, don't overwork yourself. You're stretching yourself too thin because you're trying to overanalyze and overdo. So sometimes I'm an over communicator.
Wow. Appreciate this sentiment. It reminds me a lot of Amanda. Amanda worries and worries and worries. And I literally, I'm like she created this video the other day. It was just funny because like, I've just learned to like not harbor that. I'm like, sometimes I'm like, babe, what are you stressing about? I'm like, this is not a situation where we need to even stress. Well, and she's thinking and thinking and thinking. So God, I hear you on such a loud level. Otis, let's hear from you. And then we're going to get right into some closing techniques and some conversations that you guys can have with consumers. So Otis, let's hear from you.
Communication is like 99.9% of this job. And if you can't do it, you're going to have a real fucking hard time doing this. And I'm talking about communicating on different levels. You got to be more than just on the phone and sending emails. Where I think I thrive at is in person, like a lot of people, specifically the people that I were with this past weekend, that I have to tip my hat and let everybody, all 71 people know that all you have to do is communicate. I communicated with two of my sisters, Kim and Mari Cruz and George, and they came through for me. And we were able to see and put Fast Real Estate over probably almost 6,000-7,000 people that came to both events, got to put our information out there. And also learning what type of communication, like, you know, obviously long form, like Dominique was just talking, like pretty much too much. And then the shortest possible way you could do, like, hey, Elias, how you doing? I know you probably might not be ready, but just in case you are, if you're thinking about buying or selling, my information is on there. Maybe you know somebody in the family as well, or if anybody you know that's getting into business, all my contact information. If you can just spread the word for me, brother, I appreciate you. I did that to hundreds of people on Saturday. So, I mean, it's literally that easy, but it's really that pivotal in your business, and knowing how to pivot with your conversation is going to let you be in a position to win or fail. So you got to really know how to work your conversation. And like Elias says, work a room. There's not a place that I don't go. If I'm not already eyes all on me when I walk in, for surely by the time I walk out, they definitely are. So definitely communication.
Okay. I love this. I love this. You guys, I want you to remember this, and I'm sure it's not the first time that you've heard this, but when you think about the communication and the communication breakdown, what I mean by that is that 7% of all communication is words, 38% of it is actual tone, and then 55% of it is body. So when you guys study the communication process, it's not just becoming great wordsmith. And that's what I obviously I want you guys to be great wordsmith, but I also want you to think about your like when you're speaking, if you've ever been on a script role play, or if you've been on a buyer consult, like it's like this. It should have a cadence, it should have a rhythm, there should be highs, there should be lows, there should be influx, there should be down lows. Like that's how communication is. But then, like, what are you not saying? What am I doing with my hands? Where am I putting it when I make a point to my heart? Like all these things. So when you think about it, I want you guys to really start diving into this and thinking, okay, when I rated myself, how well do I communicate on a scale from 1 to 10? If there was an area of how I communicate that I would want to improve, what would that look like? Where would I want to improve? What's my biggest challenge? And then also, obviously, I'm a solution person. What am I going to do about it? What can I read? What have I attended? What am I attending? Who have I listened to? And really start diving into this, because I promise you, the more we become evolved as communicators, then the more that our business is going to grow, right? When I think about like the disc profile, we're actually bringing a specialist in a couple of weeks, and they're going to do a really a comprehensive, easy to digest way to understand how to adjust based on profiles and personality types. So I'll save that for that conversation, but we're going to take a really deep dive into this, because I promise you guys, there's areas where you feel like you are not that confident. What I want to do is I want to make sure that you guys are just out there and can communicate at the highest level. So you guys, I appreciate your sentiment on this. Anybody else have any contributions on this conversation? Otis, thank you, big dog. Before we move on and shift gears, anybody else want to share sentiment? Going once, going twice? All right, cool. We're going to move on. So I'm going to share something with you that was shared with me, and let me just get out of this really quick. Let's go exit. All right, guys. So I'm going to share this with everybody. And, but before we do so, let's kind of go through this. This is types of closing responses. And I don't want anybody to think of a close as something that is negative. What I want you to think of a close is it's a logical progression. If you've ever heard me talk about the sales funnel, I work it like this. First things first, we do a discovery, right? The discovery is just asking questions, getting to know people, and then you do a discovery confirmation. Rico, I just want to make sure that I heard you correctly. You said this, and you said this was important to you and your family. Rico, did I miss anything? Well, no, it shows the person that's in front of you that you were intently listening on what they actually said. And then lastly, is the logical conclusion, AKA the close. That is the progression, right? Discovery confirmation to make sure that they understand that you were listening. And then lastly, the logical conclusion, which is the close. Now, there's a few types of closes in here, and I want you guys to look at these, practice those. We may not be able to have the time to go through each of these right now, but I want you guys to really look at these. The one close that I think that most of you have down is this one here. Right? It's the alternative choice close. So Otis, what works better for you? Would you like to meet today or tomorrow? What works better for you? I think that comes naturally. Most of you guys know that, but there's a lot of these that I think that we don't use that I feel that would help us get more appointments if we did put some of this into our flow. Here's one I really liked. This one right here, it is, oh, this one here, the negative close. Would you be offended if I asked you to meet to go over this? I like that. And there's also another one that is, where is it? It sounds like, oh, the soft close. I really enjoyed visiting with you or talking with you or chatting with you. Would you like to discuss this further over coffee or over Zoom? I think that there's not always a one size fits all to a logical conclusion. It's obviously based on the person that's in front of you and the way that you guys have been flowing and the way that you guys have had communication. What I found was really helpful was down here was responses to asking for an appointment. Now, I looked at all of these and I think that there's some ones that we can truly practice on to become a lot better. Let's go here and, okay. How many of you, please raise your hand if you have ever heard this from a consumer at an open house or somebody that you just meet. Have you ever heard someone say that we are just looking? Has that ever happened? Have you ever heard that before? All right, cool. That's a normal one. And have you ever heard a client say that we are not in a hurry to buy anything? Has anybody ever said that to you before? Right? I think these are common things. And then let's take one more. Let's see. Okay, cool. I like this one too. We are not sure what we want to do. Has anybody ever heard that before? A consumer ever told you, I'm not sure what we want to do just yet, right? You could either say this, you could either say, you know what, Rico, hey, let me know when you're ready. You know, if you ever have any questions, I'm here, let me know. It's weak, you guys. That is one of the worst things you could ever say to a consumer. What I liked about this was it goes right into just meeting for an appointment to talk about what that looks like. And let's go through some of these guys. And once again, I'm going to share this with you and have you guys do some practicing. We're going to come full circle in this conversation. But let's take the one that's highlighted. That's why we should meet immediately. Not sure what we want to do. Rico, that's the exact reason why we should meet immediately to discuss what the future looks like and what your plans are, whether that's 6 months down the road or a year down the road. It's important that we meet. Don't you want a professional to help you out figure what's best for you? Well, sure I do. Absolutely. It's a rhetorical question. Wouldn't you want somebody that is educated and skilled in negotiation and understands this market at the highest level to be in your corner to at least advise you? Well, of course. How do you say no to that? How do you say no to that? And then lastly, if you're looking at this, to be honest, I'm not sure I'd be able to help you figure out what you want to do, but I'd be honored if we can meet to find out. Okay, so here's what you did, is you deflected it and you said, you know what, Megan, I'm not even sure if I know I can help you, but let's at least meet and have a conversation to see if there is a way for me to serve you and help your family. Oh, okay, we could do that. What have you done? You've diffused the situation. You've taken friction away. You've eliminated any type of maybe perceived pressure from the consumer. And you've made it sound in a way like, I'm not sure if I can help you. Dominique, I'm not sure if I can help you, but I think it's in our best interest to at least talk to see if there's a way that we can help, I can help you and your family's goals or whatever that is. Does that make sense, you guys? Yeah? Okay, cool. Let's look at this one. I'm absolutely a fan of this one. We are just looking. We should still meet to help you determine the right places to look, right? Oftentimes people want to send you what I say, they give you smoke. The smoke is, oh, well, yeah, we're just looking right now. Okay, cool. Well, we should still meet to help you determine like where you're looking, what you're looking for, and understand that on a deeper level. Most of my clients start out the process by just looking. Why don't we meet so I can help you narrow your focus? If there was a financial incentive to meeting now, would that interest you? Well, what does that actually mean? Well, in the sense of an urgency conversation, like the Dream for All program, a down payment assistance program, but maybe there's only a short time frame like the Dream program, that's actually a really good conversation, right? So let's look at some of these other ones. We're not in a hurry. Good, Dominique, because I'm not in a hurry either. That's why we plan, right? That's why we meet, just to talk about what that looks like and what that plan is. I'm not on my time frame. I'm literally here to make sure that I educate you and advocate for you, whether that's 6 months down the road or a year down the road. I just want to make sure that you know that I'm in your corner. Oh, okay. That's great. I get the best results from my buyers or sellers who plan ahead. When would be a good time for us to come together and develop a plan? I actually like the way this sounds. And lastly, if there was a financial incentive to meeting now, would you be interested? I don't know if some of you are going to use that, if it doesn't apply. However, it was here, so I figured I would leave it in there. Let's see, we'll get back to you on that. Ooh, anybody ever heard this? We'll get back to you on that. We've heard this time and time again. You'll always hear that for that until the end of your career. It sounds like you want some time to think things over, right? Why don't we set up an appointment now and you can let me know if you need to reschedule. Okay, I like this. If there's something holding you back from making a decision right now, like let's talk through that. If there was a financial, so it's the same thing over and over again. What I want you guys to do is I'm going to share this. I'm going to drop this document in the chat below. What I want you to do is I want you to start looking at some angles, right? Like what are the things that you're getting told most of the time? And are you practicing these things out loud? Like, Otis, you want to wait. Wonderful, wonderful. When you say wait, what does that look like? Well, we want to wait till September. Okay, Otis, so does that mean that you want to be completely moved in by September, or would you like to start the process in September? Oh, we would like to start the process in September. Okay, perfect. This is why we need to get ahead of some things. And I want to make sure that I educate you. So when that time does come in September, you're fully prepared and you're educated and you know exactly what to expect when you enter the market. Oh, cool. I've just taken a position of advocacy and education. What have I always told you guys since day one? You are leaders and you are teachers. We have to make sure that we're leading them through this process and that we're teaching them everything that they need to know about the buying or selling process. So if practice, do you find that this could be helpful for each of you? Please give me a raise of hands on the screen below, please. Cool. Awesome. Awesome. I'm going to stop this and all right, cool. The people have spoke. I'm going to share this here. Paste. All right, cool. We focus heavily on our presentation, on our communication. Now, what I want you to do is when somebody gives you a resistance to meeting, I want you to be able to meet that. And I'm not saying be combative, and I'm never saying why, right? If you're saying, well, why wouldn't you want to do that? That instantly, it would make me put my hands up. It would make me put my hands up because it feels like you're being super combative with me. I think by following some of this flow, by following some of this dialogue, it's going to allow you to find more ways to get into an appointment. All I want for you guys is appointments. Everything else will follow if you just get in front of more people, because all you have your own personalities, you're quirky, you're fun. Some of you are funny, right? These are the things, like once you're in front of somebody, I feel like you'll be able to really dive in and be able to say, okay, no matter what, I think that there's always an opportunity for an appointment. Dominique, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I like this so much because it's you approaching it not in a personal kind of way, but more of like, well, let me help the situation as a whole. Because a lot of the times, if you feel like you're getting turned down, you're taking it too personal. And then that's when you kind of just back off a little bit and don't really come at it from a point of view where you're trying to help the situation rather than approaching it in a different way.
Totally. I feel that there's, even if someone says, yeah, we're not ready, we're just looking, maybe next year. Perfect, right? All roads should still lead to a appointment. Or, well, we're just looking, we're not pre-approved. Perfect. This is why I meet with all of my consumers ahead of time. That way you guys know what the road looks like for the next year or so as you're looking, as you're getting ready. And that way you're educated on what it takes to get an offer accepted in this competitive Bay Area market, Sacramento market, Southern California market, wherever you are, right? So I think that all roads can lead to an appointment, even if it's just a discovery meeting, right? I would want them to meet Otis, Ramel, Mitch, Jess early, even if they're not pre-approved, even though they don't know what they want, because now Dana becomes the great emancipator of the dream. Remember Dana, she helped us out with understanding the process. She hooked us up with Catalina, our amazing lender. She set us up on this thing called Real Scout. She's been there since day one. And guess what? Dana's client might have friends that are maybe a little bit closer to purchasing a home. And guess what? She, if done properly and provides high level of value and tremendous advocacy, she may be getting leads from people she hasn't even closed on. I don't know if that's ever happened to you guys, but that happens left and right in our business. So I want you guys to think about this, that, hey, all roads are just going to lead back to a discovery meeting, right? Do your thing, have some fun with them, talk to them, advocate for them. It's not about call me when you're pre-approved. Bullshit. Because somebody else just said, you know, hey, I'll take you. Come on over, sit down. I'm going to share with you what that looks like. Whether it's 6 months down the road or a year down the road, let me share with you what it actually looks like becoming a homeowner in the Bay Area, Sacramento market, San, wherever, right? So these are dialogues that I promise you guys, if practice, right? It's not just going to be like, oh, you're just, well, if there was a financial incentive for you to buy now, would you? No, like you got to like make this, internalize this, have a good flow with people, be able to understand that now you have these files. Where am I going? Where am I going? I'm going to pull that out because that fits for the situation. All roads, I want you guys to think about how can I book more and more appointments? Any thoughts on this? Any sentiment, any contributions, any, sorry, I didn't read that. What's the howdy cowboy thing you got going today? Which one? This one? Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. Let me know. I can't stand that. But here's the thing. Anybody want to chime in on this? Anybody have something that's worked really well for them? Anybody want to give a contribution to this conversation?
I'll say this past weekend did an open house with Omar and it was great. We had great turnout, but it was crazy that like during the process of, this is something that I used to struggle with, being able to get those additional questions, because like I'm a person that I like long dialogues, like deep conversation. So sometimes small talk is not my best suit. It really isn't. Like going and meeting people at an event and being like, oh, what do you do? And blah, blah, blah. Like those, it's not my best suit. But during this open house, I found myself having more things to pull from by practicing these concepts. Like, oh, you said that you want to be in September. Do you want to be in the home in September, or would you like to be starting the process in September? And then where would you like to be at? And what was the criteria that you were looking for when you came into this property? Like what brought you into this property compared to another property? So like, I just kept pulling different things to keep them engaged into the conversation. We were able to book 3 appointments this week through the open house. But it was just me and Omar being like, okay, like feeding off of each other and asking questions. And it was a great turnout, but it was cool to see like the tools that we talk about in these group coachings. As you practice them, you're going to now have that additional tool in your toolbox where it's like, oh, they said that. I didn't even flinch. It just was like, oh, okay. So then blah, 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 blah. And they're like, oh, yeah. And then like, it just kept the conversation going. So that was cool to see.
I love this, Jeff. I love this. You guys, in my whole entire career in sales, I've been in sales since I was 18 years old. My favorite was the jerks. My favorite people were the ones that said, I'm not interested. Don't talk to me. Like, I love that, because what I loved was being able to turn that person that 5 minutes ago was a jerk to me into being like, yeah, we'll do that. We'll do that, honey. We're going to do this thing with this guy, Elias, because you know what, this guy, right? I love that. And it was all before, okay, so Tom, I know that you're not interested, but let me do this. Give me 2 minutes to say what I'm going to say. And if you take something of value out of it, maybe we could talk more. Will you give me that? Go ahead. Give me a shot. Give me a shot, right? Like all I want is that one little door just to creak open just a little bit. And then let me do my thing. Let me do my thing. I get excited about it. I love the jerks that are in the reptilian brain, fight or flight. You're a salesperson, whatever they come to you as, and say, okay, watch, I'm going to turn this person because I'm going to ask the best questions. I'm going to build some great rapport. And then in 2 to 5 minutes from now, wow, okay, I've shaped their mind in a whole completely different way. I love that. I love that. So guys, let's do this. I'm going to take a quick pause. All right. I want you guys to play bigger this month. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this up right now. Goals for May. All right. Now I'm going to start this. Now, please get involved in this conversation. You see this right here, this area? Do not respond there. All right. Here's where I want you guys to respond. And I know I just have to say it this way because everyone's responding here. You go here and reply in thread. So I'm going to take a minute. I'm going to pause. I want everyone on this call, you guys, let's light this thing up. I want you to reply in the thread and I want you to share with everyone, make it a public declaration of what your goals are for May. This is summertime escrows. It's that summertime trip to Southern California. This is your trip down to the new Super Mario World and Universal Studios. This is whatever, right? This is my mom's birthday celebration. I want you guys to put in what your goals for May are. And I want you guys to be 100% committed to this, involved with your action, making sure that you're doing everything to support this. And remember what Jarek said last month or last week. Who could be impacted by the results of your success in just May alone, right? Who? My son's birthday is in June. Maybe that means that I have a better birthday for him. I'm able to provide more for him. I'm able to do something for him that maybe I wasn't able to do financially because I didn't have the means to, right? So think about that. Not only set this goal, make the declaration, commit to the activity, but who? Who's that person that's going to be impacted by the result of your success? And I want you guys to keep on going back to that. Who is this going to impact? Like I got Larissa, I have Silas, I have Lily, I have, Michaela, I have my lady, like all these things. I'm getting married in October, right? So it's just like, I need to make sure that I'm showing up so our family can have the things that we truly, truly want, right? I want to be able to go on vacation. Maybe I'm going to have a couple of you guys cover group coaching for me. I'm going to be gone for 14 days, right? I don't want to be gone. I don't want to be on these calls. Not that I don't love you, but I want to be on my honeymoon in the jungle doing crazy shit. So anyways, please put those in there. Reply in thread. And if you're on the call today and you're not putting your goals in there, I want to ask you why. Why are you not getting involved? Why are you not stepping up and making the public declaration? I want to help you. I want to be here to serve you guys. So let's do this. Let's close out the room. Let's come full circle on this conversation. We're going to go over to Cynthia. Cynthia, I've mentioned your name a couple of times and thank you for always being here. But Cynthia, a couple key takeaways from you today. Let's hear from you. Then we'll go over to Ina and then we'll go over to one more person depending on time. It will be Elise Jones because she is a guest of ours today. So let's go Cynthia, Ina, Elise.
I'm super excited to drill into that. The list that you just sent us, that verbiage, I think it's going to be huge. And it reminds me to go back and reread exactly what to say. If you guys have not checked that out, go to Slack when you're done putting in your May goals, do that first, and then type in the search bar exactly what to say. It's such a great book and the team has geared it towards our team specifically. So make sure that you check that out. And thanks, Elias. This was a great one.
Awesome. Yeah. And I appreciate, what are the X's for, by the way? Are you hanging a picture there?
Oh yeah. This is, we're trying to figure out what to do back here.
Okay. All right, cool. That book, you guys, phenomenal. We're actually going to start putting that in our 30-day checklist. So people have that as like a reference, but really good stuff. Ina, let's hear from you. Key takeaways from our time together today. And then we'll go to our guest, Elise Jones. Ina.
I also liked the scripting. I loved the negative scripting. It reminded me of Chris Voss's Never Split the Difference. So I want to dig further into that because there's a lot of really, really great ways to secure an appointment instead of just making the ask and then, kind of sheepishly walking away from it. So I'm going to dig much heavier into scripting in May.
Beautiful. I love this. I love this. And somebody in this business that's growing tremendously and still committed to taking it to the next level. Wonderful. And we're going to go to Elise. And if there's any other hands up, you guys, sorry, we want to make sure I end on time. Elise, as our guest, first off, thank you for being here and spending a little bit of your time. Let's go key takeaways from the group today. Let's hear from you, Elise. And Elise just passed her exam.
Thank you so much for having me, and I am glad to be a part of this call today. It was amazing. My key takeaway is going to definitely be working on networking and putting myself out there more, and challenging myself to create more content, getting out there, and really challenging myself to step out of my comfort zone in ways that are challenging me to work on my different forms of communication. So thank you guys so much for having me.
I love it. I love it. And thank you for being here, Elise. So you guys, that's what I have for you today. And hopefully you took something of value out of this, because not only are we going to have, you know me, we're going to have some kumbayas. That's my style, you guys, but we're also going to leave you with tactical things that you can do to apply to get more appointments, more showings, and obviously write more offers and grow your business. So you guys, I want to challenge you to get out there today. Have some fun. I want to challenge you today to get yourself on camera. I want you to go back over the last month. I want you to look at your behaviors, your activities. And if you are not where you want to be, then look back and reflect and be like, okay, that's why. I didn't do the thing. So I want to encourage you guys to get on camera today. Have some fun with this. Step up and do all the things that you know you need to do. And let's have a phenomenal summer, you guys. Let's look back and be like, God damn, look at what we were able to create this summer. So you guys, I appreciate you. I care about you more than you'll ever know. And as always, keep it moving towards your dreams, goals, and vision, and have an amazing, amazing day. Peace.